Did you know an entire Greek city vanished in one night, then slept beneath mud and water for more than 2,000 years? Hello, explorers. Today we dive into Helike, a thriving Achaean city that disappeared in 373 BC, and a modern investigation that brought it back to the map. This is the real-world mystery some call the Atlantis of Greece. Picture the Gulf of Corinth on a winter night. The ground shakes, wells slosh, animals bolt for higher ground. Ancient writers tell of the sea rising, ships pulled inland, and a city swallowed as people searched for safety. By morning, Helike was gone, the temple of Poseidon lost beneath the waves, and only scattered fragments visible offshore. For travelers, the site became a warning engraved on the landscape, a story about pride and the power of the sea. For centuries, no one could find it. Villages shifted, rivers braided the coast, and the delta grew. Explorers looked offshore, expecting stone streets under salt water. The evidence did not fit. The coast had changed shape. Helike had not simply fallen into the deep. It had been drowned and buried on a plain that once was sea. That clue changed everything. Enter the Helike Project. Archaeologists and geologists walked fields, ran geophysical surveys, and drilled cores across the delta north of Aegeo. In layered muds, they found earthquake-disturbed sediments, lagoon deposits, and cultural layers with pottery and coins. Nearby, foundations and road segments emerged, aligned like a ghost grid beneath farmland. The lost city was no longer legend. It was stratigraphy you could touch with a trowel. What did life in Helike look like? Finds span many ages, from early Bronze Age settlements to classical Helike, and later reoccupation after the disaster. The material record shows workshops, storage, coins stamped with local identity, and evidence of trade along the Corinthian Gulf. People did not vanish from the landscape. They moved, rebuilt, and adapted, turning trauma into the next chapter of the plain. Science also caught up with the story. The Gulf of Corinth is a young rift, stretching a little each year, its faults capable of strong earthquakes and coastal collapse. Recent syntheses point to destructive events striking every few centuries, a pattern that matches historical clusters in Achaea. The 373 BC sequence likely produced ground failure and a tsunami, drowning low ground that had been a lagoon in earlier times. Text, terrain, and trench now tell the same tale. Ancient voices still guide us. Pausanias tells of a city and harbor destroyed, ferrymen pointing to a bronze Poseidon standing in the straits. Strabo repeats the story of the sea raised by an earthquake. Eratosthenes, traveling a century and a half later, collected local testimony about the drowned land. Their accounts were once dismissed as myth. Today, they are field guides, annotated by GPS. Why does Helike matter now? Because it proves that disaster memory can be accurate, even poetic, and that written witnesses and modern sensors can meet in the middle. Because many coastal cities today sit on deltas where shaking, liquefaction, and tsunami can stack disasters, just as they did in antiquity. Because preparedness begins with imagining the unthinkable, and Helike is a model for that imagination. There is also wonder. The lagoon that entombed Helike protected its streets, courtyards, and small objects, creating a time capsule like a maritime Pompeii. Each season adds details: a wall line aligning with a road, a well sealed by collapse, coins from a marketplace that went silent in a single night. The city speaks again, not through legend, but through layers. What comes next? Continued mapping of buried channels and fault scarps, refined tsunami models, and careful conservation of waterlogged materials. The goal is not only to excavate, but to explain how landscapes fail and recover, so that living communities can learn from a city that did not get a second chance. So, was Helike a myth? No, it was a place of stone and trade and ritual, erased by a chain of natural forces that still shape Greece today. Its return is a triumph of patient science, where satellite images, cores, and ancient sentences fit into one story. Remember Helike the next time the ground trembles or the tide runs strange. Remember that seas can rise in minutes, and that memory, recorded well, can save lives. Comment your thoughts, and tell us what lesson from Helike struck you most. Like this video if it changed how you see disaster stories, and subscribe for more journeys where science and myth meet, only here on Next Gen Science. Let us keep exploring together.